Sup world? So patch 2.7.1 patch notes just dropped, and with that comes a brand new season, season 24, in which we'll be playing with brand new items called Ethereal Items. Sounds like they're trying to pay homage to Diablo 2, within the same month of Diablo 2's anniversary. Also featured in this patch is a brand new set rework, a few balance changes, as well as some bug fixes. So without further ado, let's dive right on in. All right, so let's get started. So at the top, we have our release date for the actual PTR, which is June 17th on a Thursday, basically a week after the patch notes has been released. Nothing kind of new on that aspect. So we're gonna come down, and usually I skip this portion because it's usually the same stuff where it's like, oh, you get more blood shards, more XP, increased legendary drop rate. So usually like this spot doesn't change, but I'm glad I actually kind of skimmed over it because it actually shows something a little different. Let's actually go from here. We're gonna highlight from here. So if you read this part, the jank meme will also have bags full of legendary items and Ethereals, so that's going to be really cool because it's going to make it very easy for us to test these new Ethereals out and get the right rolls you want to, see how it affects our builds, right? So very crucial information that a lot of us, usually tend to skip over for that. So cool that was spotted, right? So gonna kind of come down here, and all this is for the most part the same as usual. So we're gonna have to talk about the season's theme. This is the patch, the notes from the developer. D2 left us with fond memories when it released more than 20 years ago. Interestingly enough, they released this in June, which is the 20-year anniversary, or not 20-year, but the anniversary for Diablo 2 in general. So Ethereals are actually items that were powerful items in D2. They were temporary, although you could use like a Zod rune and some other stuff to kind of make them permanent, so therefore they don't break or anything. But they were powerful items that kind of roll with several different fixes that can make or break builds, right? So they're bringing that over, 21 of those. So each class gets 3 weapons, so Ethereal Weapons. So and on these weapons, we have it can roll a class weapon legendary power, a random class passive power, as well as powerful set of affixes. So the thing that we know so far for sure is what the class weaponry, weapon legendary power is, as well as the class passive powers. Like we know what those are because they're in the game. What we don't know is what these powerful set of affixes are. So a lot of us have been kind of trying to theorycraft and like figure out, how much of a difference this last part here, actually makes. And for the most part, it's not really that exciting when you just include this part. So some of us, myself included, are kind of being reserved about, our excitement right now because, most builds aren't going to really change. Let's just give an example for Demon Hunters, right? Best we can hope for God 6 would be a 2-hander with Fortress or Dawn legendary affix on it, as well as, I don't know, maybe singled out passive or something like that. That's about as exciting as it gets, right? So it's really not, it's kind of meh, or at least until we know what the powerful set of affixes are and keyword set of affixes. So we're hoping, or we're looking at maybe, a couple, 3, 4 affixes that are deemed powerful. So we'll have to kind of wait for that. Going on a little bit further, Ethereals are account bound and can only be dropped by monsters, chests, and destructibles, but do not require your character to be level 70 to drop. This can actually kind of make it kind of fun in terms of like leveling up and you actually finding an Ethereal on the way. Now, whether it drops at, as a level 70 item when you do find it, that's going to be, we don't really know. Or would you be able to equip it when you do find it? If it does drop as a level 70 item, we don't know. We'll know next week. Ethereals cannot be acquired through Kanai's Cube or from Kadala. This is actually, I actually kind of like that because it allows, you can't like bot, you know, bounties and just re-roll or whatever like that. These particular items, you have to actually just like do GRs and stuff like that. So, pretty cool change, or not change, but pretty cool thing here. Ethereal Rarity drop rate is set between ancient and primal items, so that's either 1 in 10 or 1 in 400-ish, you know. So that's a wide gap of what that really is, and I wish they kind of would have told us something less vague than that, but at least we have an idea that it's not going to be as rare as primaries, but it's not going to be as, you know, candy as ancients. Kind of went over this already here with the 3 unique Ethereals per class. Only 1 Ethereal can be equipped at a time. So this, I mean, kind of to be expected. It is only weapons, right? This actually kind of makes dual wield for let's say demon hunters. I'm going to use demon hunters for this example. This kind of makes dual wield like probably less sought after for sure, because let's just say the ethereal items can like have a higher base damage, right? You know, let's say it has a 50% higher base damage. That means that you can only equip one of those, and so if you're dual wielding with the second one-hand crossbow, you're going to technically only get 25% of that value of damage bonus, because of course it alternates, like most skills alternate in the game for demon hunters. So I see dual wield really not being a thing next season for that purpose. It would definitely be one-handed quiver for sure, because dual wield definitely loses out here. Anyways, moving on forward, Ethereals ignore item durability loss. Legendary powers and class passive skills rolled on Ethereals do not stack with the same power equipped through Kanai's Cube items or skills. Kind of to be expected. That's almost with every season that's, you know, that has like multiple like duplicate abilities. This is no different here. Ethereals cannot be enchanted, transmog, dyed, reforged, or traded. This here is gonna make it to where you, kind of like I said earlier, you kind of have to play the game in order to get these drops, you know, and because it's this way here, especially not being able to be traded and stuff like that, means that you kind of have to farm a bit on the class that you want to push. Now, of course, you're probably going to want to play several different classes, but if you really want the chance to be able to get the ethereal items with the roles and the fix you want, you kind of have to really play a lot of that particular class. You can't just do one, like, you know, let's say rat runs with Z-Barb and 3 Necros, and, you know, think that, hey, you know, maybe Ethereals can be, you know, I'll be able to have like a non-smart loot drop, or you can get some Ethereals from one of the 3 Necros in your party, and then you can just make a Necro yourself. That's not going to be able to happen. So looks like there's going to be a little bit of choice between just Paragon farming and just farming for your actual Ethereals, right? So there's that. Ethereals can be augmented. That's pretty cool. I would hope so. Collecting all, sorry, give me a sec. Collecting all 21 Ethereals during season 24 will reward players with the feat of strength, Ethereal recollection. Okay, players who accomplish this will have all transmogs available for future season and non-seasonal play. So this is kind of interesting because, and maybe a little bit frustrating too, because most of us have a lot of characters as mules, you know, like just a lot of side characters that we don't really have many spots left for characters. So, you know, we're not gonna have 7 open slots to be able to farm 21 different ethereal items. So I wonder, you know, how Blizzard will approach this, or will they kind of keep it the same way? Because this will frustrate a lot of people. Me personally, I might only just play 2 classes this coming season, like Demon Hunter and Monks. So I just need a third slot where I can just make a brand new character, get carried in GRs or whatever, get my 3 Ethereal Weapon transmogs, and just delete the character and then just start over again for the other classes that I know I'm not going to play. That seems to be the only way that I would do this personally. But I mean, it's an option, but I don't think that that's what Blizzard intended. But hey, it is what it is. Ethereals only drop in seasonal play and will not transfer to your seasonal character when the season ends. So there's been kind of like a little bit of talks in the forums and social media posts and things about this particular note here. And I'm kind of on the fence. Of course you would love to be able to keep items, any brand new items that are introduced in the game for non-season. But at the same time, Ethereals were always really temporary in D2. So when the season ends, technically speaking, that makes Ethereals temporary. So if you're paying a true homage, or as much of a true homage as you can in the Diablo 3 space, then yeah, technically they are not supposed, you're not supposed to be able to hold on to them. So kind of in the middle between either one. I would like to see them transfer over, but at the same time, it kind of is what it is. Also, depending on what the powerful affixes roll or how they roll, and how strong they are, it would throw off the balance of all the classes and things like that. And I can see why they don't want to do that. So anyways, moving forward, you get the season rewards, portrait pet, the normal stuff you would kind of get for every season. But moving forward to the monk changes here, or monk change, right? So we got the Mystic Ally, Fire Ally. They basically buffed this for the most part. It now splits into two splits instead of 5. But now all Fire Allies can split. Damage rate is slightly increased, and damage increased from 480% to 1920% weapon damage. So, and then of course they also buffed the Earth Ally too as well. But if you look further down, which we'll get in a second, I don't really understand why they would do this, considering that the monk's new rework set below is based off the Fire Ally. So I guess it just is kind of what it is, but I guess we won't know until we actually play the PTR. Anyways, Wizard gets mirror image, quality of life. It now displays counter to how many mirror images are active. This is a really cool quality of life that I'm pretty sure many wizards would be happy with. So moving down forward, we got the Igna's Mantra 4-piece rework. You gain all your four mantras. You gain 5% damage reduction for each Mystic Ally you have out. Your Mystic Allies no longer take damage. That's the 4-piece bonus. 6-piece bonus is gain passive abilities of the 5 runed Mystic Allies at all times. Attacking enemies, create your own chosen Mystic Ally that lasts 15 seconds, up to 10 Mystic Allies. The damage of your Mystic Allies is increased by 950% for each Mystic Ally you have out. So looking at that, along with the Crudus boots, which now summons, which is kind of like a reworks of the boots, 300 to 400% increased damage and are able to attack their active forms longer, plus the bindings of the lesser gods, which enemies hit by a cyclone takes 300% to 400% increased damage from your Mystic Allies for 5 seconds. Split Fire Allies, this is what I meant. So not on the set, but on the item. Split Fire Allies gain 5 times this bonus, right? So when you pretty much do the math for everything that's happening here, this puts monks pretty much at top tier, like probably the best solo build in the game. Probably one of the best farming builds too as well, in terms of like group meta stuff. So you would totally see some group speed metas. I assume you would see like 2 monks, ZDH, Z-Barb kind of thing happening. But it's pretty cool to kind of see monks, possibly be in the meta that's not a support monk, right? It's been a very long time since monks has had a DPS role in the meta. So far numbers look cool, look good. This might be extremely strong. We'll see, but the monks deserve it. They've been kind of out of meta for quite some time now. So, but we shall see. So the AOV set is getting a nerf, and I'm going to explain about this for a bit. So attacking with Fist of the Heavens empowers you, allowing Heaven Furies to deal 125% increased damage for 5 seconds. So it was 100%, okay, but it was 100% multiplicative, and it stacks up to 3 times. Actually, sorry, I probably should have highlighted that, right? So, stacks up to 3 times, right? So with it being multiplicative, it used to be a 800%, multiplicative, buff, whereas now it is additive. It's 125% increased damage for 5 seconds. So that's 375% damage versus 800% damage. So this is about a 3 GR nerf. And it kind of needed it. Satyrs were doing, fairly well and things like that. And it looks like Blizzard is trying to, nerf a little bit of the overperforming or top end builds, which I can kind of see that given what they did with God 6 and Witch Doctor's last patch, right? So not a big nerf, but enough to kind of maybe reconsider doing something else, or just not clearing GR 150s all willy-nilly, right? So going to the next part, this is the Bone Spear set, okay, and this is a nerf. Bone Spear cast by you and your simulacrums deal 6,000% increased damage. So if you notice, they remove the triple damage from your simulacrums, or simulacrums, sorry. That's already a big nerf, but they also brought the damage down from 10,000% to 6,000%. So by calculation, that's roughly about a 10 GR nerf. That actually puts it in the same category as God 6 in terms of solo push builds. So probably B tier, roughly. I know a lot of Necros are going to be a little, be pretty upset with this. Bone Spear was really strong. So I'm not surprised to see a nerf here. What I am surprised is that I don't see any nerfs for wizards, for Firebirds wizard. And reason being is because if you're going to nerf the outliers, then you kind of have to do that across the board, because you left, wizards obviously with 2 S tier builds, while nerfing other classes down to either A tier or B tier, in that sense. So you just kind of just push people to playing, this particular class because it's just that much stronger than the others, or that particular build because it's that much stronger than the others. So surprised didn't see that, but it is what it is. Then there's some bug fixes, which, yeah, nothing to mention there. A few things to note too as well about wizards and the Firebirds build. The mirror images, I don't think was actually meant to be, to do what it was supposed to. People found out about this, about them being able to proc towards the end of PTR last session, and that gave Blizzard very little time to figure out what to do with this, because of course they didn't want you to use Death Wish or anything like that. So mirror image kind of brought that back into play, but mirror images were never meant to be like attacking things, or like offensive juggernauts. They were never meant to be that in that sense. That's the reason why they derp so much, because the AI was programmed for the images to go find things to distract. So like if you ever try to use mirror image on like a Rift Guardian and things like that, you'll notice that you'll get one image attacking the Rift Guardian, the other 4 would just go to the corners looking for stuff. That's because that's the way that they were programmed to do so, right? So, with that being said, this basically tells me that, mirror images were never supposed to have the role that they do. So I'm surprised they didn't change that up, or either just remove it altogether, because it's really clunky to play. Not a lot of people really like that, like the build itself and, the way that it functions, especially when you push. And then maybe just buff, the 6-piece bonus just a little bit more, so you can run some flame blades and other options that are a lot more fun and which you have more control over. But anyways, that's just me ranting. Outside of that, that's pretty much it. Pretty slim patch. Biggest things to look for would be the powerful fixes on the ethereal items. So I will have more to say about that when those drops. But yeah. So that wraps up this video. What do you all think? Will this concept be awesome, or will it be a bust? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, till next time.